So I've been super stressed out from finals week and I'm super excited about that, so I thought, hey, it's 10 o'clock at night and I probably should be studying or getting some rest before my final tomorrow, but I thought I should actually make a video. And the problem is I haven't really watched too many games recently or done much of anything because I've been so stressed out, so I thought, what do I really have to talk about, hockey related? And then it hit me. I realized I should talk about when I went to the 2015 NHL Awards in Vegas. First of all, I gotta say, as an overall experience, it was super exciting and I totally would go again. I mean, the NHL Awards are a super fun place to be. But let's get specific as to why the NHL Awards was great and not so great. First of all, I thought going to Vegas, you hear about Vegas, it is a desert. It's disgusting and everybody's like, oh, it's so hot, it's gonna be terrible, it's gonna be over 100 degrees. And I'm like, you know what, I'm from Arizona, it's not gonna be that bad. And it really wasn't. It's actually better than the heat in Arizona. So if you're really sensitive to heat, I suppose I wouldn't recommend going and staying out a lot. Probably find some taxis, trustworthy taxis, Ubers, get your own car, that kind of thing. Don't walk around a lot during the daytime. Honestly, I don't think you really need to walk around during the daytime or really walk around Vegas at any time except when you're actually going to the awards, because in my opinion, Vegas is actually pretty boring. I honestly don't recognize that much of a difference between Vegas and Arizona, just like in terms of like how it's set up and built. Oh look, it's desert. Oh look, here are things I don't want to go do. If you're into a lot of like the gambling and drinking, and which you can be, nothing wrong with that, then it's a good city for you. But if you're like me and you're like, I'm here to see John Tavares and only John Tavares, then you're kind of out of luck. Now let's go for like the best part of the entire awards. It wasn't even actually, the best part of the awards wasn't even the awards, it was the red carpet. The red carpet is pretty much just a really great opportunity to see some really cool dudes in suits that are really done up with really nice hair and get some pretty cool autographs from them. And it's a pretty cool experience to actually have your favorite NHLers within right there in front of you. Like literally you touch hands with them and you're like, hey, what's up? How you doing? When I got to the red carpet 3 hours in advance, there was nowhere to go. The red carpet itself was about 100, 200 feet. And only on one side. There wasn't like another side to it like you've seen previously when they've streamed it. I think in like 2014, which was like the first time I ever watched it, you saw there were people on both sides. But there wasn't in this case because there was a glass wall on one side and then executives and like fancy people on the other side. So fans only had 200 feet and that meant like 200 people were there. So I kind of had to fidget and budge, and thank God I'm a small person. So I got in next to these dealers who were just dealers. They're just there to get stuff signed and then sell it. Which, fine, that's okay by me. They weren't really causing any trouble for me. They were actually really sweet guys. It was pretty awesome being next to them. While it was quite a bit messy, and there were people who were really annoying next to me in Blackhawk shirts who were like, sorry, we're saving spots in line for people. You can't sit here and get autographs. It's like, the hell I can. There's nobody here. First come, first serve. My favorite story of signatures from the red carpet actually comes from my mom. And she had won our fantasy tournament of 4 of us, me, my mom, my dad, and one of my high school friends. And she had recently won it, and one of her big major key players was Brent Burns. And guess who was there? Nominated for, I don't even think he was nominated for the Norris that year. I think he was nominated for one of the donation awards. Either way, Brent Burns was there, and my mom she has kind of a bit of a crush on Brent Burns, I think, but she was so excited to see him. And I pushed her up to where I was against the red carpet, and she had like her, funny it was, she had Taves t-shirt that she had him sign, but I pushed her on up there, I'm like, go on Mom, you can do this. And she gets Brent Burns on over, and he's like, oh, hey, what's up? And she's like, hey, she was like, you helped me win in my fantasy league against my family. You got me, I won. And he's like, oh, that's bragging rights right there. And she was just like, oh my God, yes, Brent Burns, it is. I love you. And she actually was like so nervous she wound up dropping like her marker, her Sharpie, and Brent Burns bent down to pick it up and he's like, oh hey, here you go. And she was like, I'm sorry about that. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. And my mom, I can't even explain the face that she had. She was so excited to see him. I was like, This is what dreams are made of. I'm so proud of you, Mom. That's my favorite story. I mean, even though it doesn't involve me. But my favorite story, I guess, involving me on the red carpet is when, I guess I kind of have two, how I got this hat signed. It's signed by both Pecorine and Peter Laviolette, coach of the Nashville Predators, and all around. I love both of them. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm just personally, after this experience, I'm just really personally attached to them. Like, I don't follow the Predators as much as I used to, but I still have, like, that connection. Like, someone will say, hey, Peter Laviolette, and I'd be like, that's my man. Or people will say, hey, Pecorine, I'd be like, that's my goaltender, I know him. So it's really cool. But the actual experience came of, you know, standing there, you know, there's a crowd of everybody. Crowd of everybody's great word choice right there. There's loud music playing. I can barely hear anything, but I have my hat in my hands, and I see Pekka, and I'm like, Pekka, what up? Really didn't say that. I was like, hey, Pekka! And, I mean, he's just like this 6'6", you know, just like sweetheart. He just walks on over. He had like a little bow tie, and he was all done up, and he's like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, good, how are you? And he's like, good. And he like just signs my hat, and he's just such a sweetheart. Like, I couldn't muster out any other words for him. Like, I want to say, hey, good luck on the Vezina, or like, oh, I love you, you're such a great goaltender, but I couldn't. But he was just so sweet. I was like, yeah, this is great. And so then here comes Peter Laviolette walking down the red carpet with his gorgeous wife, and no one's asking for autographs. Like, no one's like yelling or screaming, and I'm like, this is my opportunity. I got the chance. He's right there, and I'm like, Laviolette, hey. Not quite like that, but you get the point. And he just like walks it over, and I'm like, hey, and I'm like, you know, and he's like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, good, how are you? You know, the typical line, because I can't really muster any words against normal people, much less like these gods in front of me right now. And he goes, he asked me my name, and I forget exactly how he worded it, but he was like, oh, what's your name? And I'm like, oh, it's Rachel. And he's like, nice to meet you, Rachel. And he's just like, you know, he was the guy who got in the fight with Dan Bilesma, like, when he was coaching the Flyers, and he seems like a really hard-ass dude, but he was just, like, so down-to-earth right there, and I was like, yes, like, connected on that level. And after he signed it, I was like, thank you so much. I was like, because I say thank you to everything. I mean, even when NHLers didn't, like, greet me or, like, look at me, I was like, thank you for the signature. I just felt like that was a polite thing to do. But when Laviolette left, I was like, you did so good with Nashville this year. Like, truly, Nashville was like, unbelievable that year. I mean, you even had, like, no-name guys, I guess, like your low guys people really didn't know about were, like, scoring and being incredible. I mean, Philip Forsberg comes out of nowhere, has an incredible rookie season. All the Swedes are just rocking it. Roman Josi, Shea Weber, they're like the best dynamic duo in the league, and you're like, damn, Peter Laviolette, he's doing a good-ass job right now, and this team is going places. Wound up not because of Chicago, which, I mean, what can you say? It's Chicago. It's no big deal. The rest of the guys that I saw on the red carpet, I got signatures from, but I didn't quite have as in-depth conversations as I did with those two men on the Predators, which, I mean, is no big deal because at the time, I was pretty damn socially awkward. So it was kind of a struggle for me to do what I did. And, I mean, I'm a stronger person now because of it. I feel like I can hold my own against an NHLer and have a nice, hearty conversation with them, even though I probably couldn't. I would probably, you know, turn into a puddle on the floor if I met any of them again. I mean, it's pretty cool. I saw a lot of people also try to get selfies with everybody. I mean, I really wanted a selfie with John Tavares, but I didn't. I honestly didn't have the guts to do so. But if you have the guts to talk to NHLers and do this kind of stuff, I think the red carpet is definitely a place for you. So, long story short, I mean, I hope you got a pretty good feel of what Vegas is like. I mean, you probably didn't. But how the awards went, the red carpet, I mean, maybe you can formulate your own opinion and maybe go this year. I mean, especially with how stacked it looks like all the nominations are going to be, especially the Calder. I mean, I don't think it's a bad year to go, and I think it would be a really fun experience if you haven't experienced it yet. I mean, again, red carpet, when I went, free. You just walk in. In fact, it was at NHL got ready in a Mexican restaurant, so I mean, it's pretty, you know, it's out there. So you can just walk on up and get some signatures and you're done. It's pretty cool. I also don't think the award show was actually expensive either. So in short, the NHL Awards was a rockin' time, and I mean, if you got the time, if you got the money, head on over. Later, guys.